Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is, I don't understand. Every time I stand there, that just doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. He's so hard to beat. He's so good. If he's not the best, it's you and him.
Watching the recent training footage of Islam Makhachev, Joe Rogan is now certain of who will dominate when he faces Ilia Topuria in the ring. Rogan has always praised Makhachev's skill set, but this latest glimpse into the Dagestani fighter's preparations has seemingly erased any doubts he had about Makhachev's potential title defense against Topuria. Makhachev has been seen back in intense training, even going so far as to team up with former UFC star Zabit Magomedsharipov.
How do you beat Islam? Is Georgian wrestling better than Dagestani wrestling?
You can't analyze the wrestling that way because you never know. It can go either way, you know what I mean? But I have so many things against Islam that he's going to have.
Footage has only reinforced Rogan's belief that Makhachev is the most complete fighter in the UFC today. For Rogan, it's not just about Makhachev's dominant wrestling or suffocating top control. It's his ability to seamlessly blend these elements with dangerous striking that truly sets him apart.
Should he be fighting next? Ilia Topuria? Or should he get the rematch with Charles Oliveira?
Man, that's tough to say. Who's next in line right now for him? Do you know?
Could be Oliveira, could be Topuria if he goes up.
Yeah, but there's still guys, I think, at 45 for Topuria to fight. And I've never seen Topuria in person, but if he can make 145, dude, Islam's a big guy.
Big guy.
I think he's going to be a lot bigger than Topuria. But that being said, Topuria is an assassin, and I believe he can knock out anybody from 145 pounds to 170 pounds.
You think Islam could become the champion in an upper weight class, maybe 170 if he wanted to?
Yeah, I believe Islam could.
Episode of his podcast, Rogan said, "When you knock out Volkanovski like that and then choke out Dustin Poirier like that, the guy's got it all. He can head kick you, strike with you, and knock you out legitimately, then he can still strangle you and smother you. It's the perfect combination." Makhachev's highlight reel speaks for itself, including his stunning head kick knockout of Volkanovski at UFC 294, a moment that Rogan himself called a shocker when he saw it live. Rogan was clearly impressed, describing the knockout as perfect and emphasizing how Islam had made noticeable adjustments to his striking game. "He showed so much improvement," Rogan said. "He really made adjustments. He shut down that switch kick to the outside leg, threw that front kick up the middle, and set up the head kick."
Poirier's saying, I'm no longer at that division. I'm now at lightweight. With the confidence from knocking out Holloway and Volkanovski back-to-back, he thinks that, hey, I can knock these guys out. But the only fight he's had at 55, he's gotten dropped by Jai Herbert. And then we've seen him get, out-muscled and out-wrestled by a couple guys at 45.
Rogan's admiration for Makhachev isn't limited to his striking. His grappling, the foundation of his fighting style, is what truly makes him a nightmare for anyone in the lightweight division. After Makhachev submitted Charles Oliveira at UFC 280, Rogan was left in awe, calling him the Fing Truth and emphasizing the methodical nature of the performance. He submitted the guy with the most submissions in the history of the sport, and the way he did it, he was just so Fing methodical and dominant, Rogan said. This kind of dominance has cemented Makhachev's reputation as not just a champion, but a potentially all-time great in the making.
That's for sure. I would like to fight him.
But if they don't give you that fight, if they give you a #1 contender fight, when would you like to fight next?
I wouldn't fight for a #1 contender
really?
fight. No.
You only want to fight for the title?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Okay, of course.
Yeah, I understand. That makes sense to me. Look, also, it's the most marketable fight. Everybody else has lost to him. Right?
I don't care if Islam decides that he doesn't want to fight me. I don't care. I said till you're going to have
Rogan
to fight.
believes that this combination of elite grappling, evolving striking, and unshakable fight IQ makes Makhachev a nearly unsolvable puzzle for any fighter. It's this well-roundedness that has Rogan placing Makhachev above other top-tier fighters like Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria when discussing the most complete fighters in the UFC. If you really think about it, who's the most complete fighter, you'd say Max Holloway or Ilia Topuria, but Islam Makhachev, you've got to put at the top of the heap as the most complete, Rogan said.
He's the pound-for-pound #1 right now. Pound #1 right now.
That's the Ilia Islam.
He wants that fight bad, and I think he can win. And what makes me think that Ilia will do really well against Islam is Volk's first fight with Islam. I'm like, man, I think Ilia's wrestling is way better than Volk's, and obviously you could see how the striking went. And
Topuria's aggressive style and knockout power make him a dangerous opponent for anyone, but Rogan sees Makhachev's clinch game as a critical advantage. It's a part of Islam's arsenal that many overlook, focusing too much on his wrestling and not enough on his ability to neutralize strikers in close quarters. This is where Topuria's height and reach disadvantage could become a serious liability. Adding to the chorus of voices backing Makhachev is Belal Muhammad, a close friend and training partner of the Dagestani champ. In a recent interview with Submission Radio, Muhammad didn't mince words, saying, "No, I don't think Topuria is a challenge. I think he finishes Topuria in the second round. Honestly, I just see Islam dominating all these guys." His confidence isn't without basis. Muhammad has seen firsthand what Makhachev is capable of in training, and like Rogan, he believes that Islam's combination of grappling and striking makes him a nightmare matchup for Topuria.
How do you compare Islam's boxing level to Topuria's? Who would win in a boxing match? That's from Jalal. Pound for pound, look, I would tell you it's going to be Topuria. Topuria is a natural puncher. He's very talented. Obviously that's his I would say his bread and butter. That's how he wins his fights. They say he's a good wrestler. He's a good grappler as well, of course. But, his big thing is he's a stellar boxer. He has great KO power. He has incredible head movement, beautiful defense, footwork.
Movsar Evloev, another top contender in the featherweight division, recently weighed in on the potential matchup between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. Speaking to a Russian outlet, Evloev emphasized that a loss to Makhachev should not tarnish Topuria's reputation as a fighter. Evloev's perspective is rooted in the respect he has for Makhachev's unparalleled skill set and physical advantages. If Topuria loses to Islam, it won't take anything away from him. Islam is just on another level. He's bigger, stronger, and the pound-for-pound number one. Losing to him isn't something to be ashamed of, Evloev stated, highlighting the significant gap in size and experience that would likely influence the outcome of such a fight. This viewpoint underscores the idea that even elite fighters like Topuria can find themselves outmatched against a champion of Makhachev's caliber, without it reflecting poorly on their overall ability.
Islam's physicality, and I think is a better overall scrambler. Not a better grappler, but scramble for scramble, I think that Tsaryukhin is better. And so he presents challenges in ways that Topuria does not. But on the feet, I think Topuria is much more dangerous. Here's the thing. Tsaryukhin will fail on a takedown, but then he'll just scramble and then try again and then run you into the fence and then try again. Like, he can recover from a few
On the other hand, Chael Sonnen, never one to shy away from a provocative take, offered a more critical perspective. Sonnen, known for his sharp analysis and direct approach, addressed the question of whether Topuria has truly earned a shot at Makhachev. Drawing on comments made by Khabib Nurmagomedov, Sonnen argued that Makhachev's camp is unlikely to entertain a matchup against someone who hasn't fully proven themselves within the lightweight ranks. Islam is not going to fight Ilia Topuria. It's for one reason. He has not proven it, Sonnen said. When that proof comes, it can only go up or down. If it goes down, we don't need a win over a guy that's down. Sonnen emphasized the high stakes and brutal logic that often shape matchmaking decisions at the championship level.
I have a hard time getting Ilia in there with Islam. And Islam's entire situation, or his entire argument is, I've done this not just once, I've done this twice, it's everything to gain for you, and I have nothing. When the reality is, this should be the undisputed champion versus the BMF champion. That's what this should be. Ilia Topuria should be, right now, the BMF champion. And it's not the first time the mistake has been made to walk a BMF champion out.
As the lightweight division waits for clarity, Makhachev himself has hinted at potentially moving up to welterweight, especially if Belal Muhammad loses his upcoming title fight. This could throw a wrench into Topuria's plans, as the Spaniard has made it clear that he only wants to fight for the title if Islam moves up. If that happens, the lightweight belt could become vacant, potentially leading to a showdown between Topuria and another top contender like Charles.
So there's really nothing gain for Islam from fighting him. So when he says, "Oh, let him fight somebody else, earn it," like, he's not saying I won't fight him. He's saying, bro, let him earn it. Like, we already had to deal with this already. People are already shutting my resume. They're hating on me no matter what. So let him go out there, beat like a Charles Oliveira. Why would it have to be for a title? You vacated your title. You wanted to move up on your own. You didn't want to cut the weight.
Alexander Volkanovski has become one of the most qualified voices to weigh in on the potential showdown between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. The former featherweight champion has felt the force of both men, having gone to war with Makhachev twice and suffering a brutal knockout at the hands of Topuria. He's one of the few fighters who can provide a first-hand assessment of what it's like to face these two rising titans in the cage. Volkanovski's history with Makhachev is already etched into UFC lore. Their first encounter was a razor-thin decision in the Russians' favor, a fight that tested Makhachev's striking and composure like never before. Despite being significantly smaller, Volkanovski's relentless pace and pressure allowed him to give Makhachev one of the toughest fights of his career, exposing vulnerabilities that many had previously overlooked. It was a 5-round war that left both men battered, but it also proved that Makhachev wasn't as invincible as some had assumed.
And he's stoic till that happens, you know what I mean? He is on task and he doesn't, you know what I mean? He'll go, even if things aren't working, he's still going to try and find it. So I think Islam's going to be a tough matchup for him because Islam can be quite defensive and safe. I think he's going to know he needs to play it safe with Ilia because he knows Ilia's going to have that puncher's chance. Then later rounds, you know, it's going to be very difficult for Ilia. Ilia can, if he puts hands on anyone, like if he traps them, you know, gets them where they don't want to be and lands a nice big shot, it's going to be game over.
The rematch was a different story. This time, Makhachev made a statement, landing a perfectly timed head kick that sent Volkanovski crashing to the canvas in a stunning first-round finish. It was a reminder of just how dangerous the Dagestani champion could be when given the chance to set up his shots. Volkanovski's chin, long considered one of the most reliable in the sport, couldn't withstand the power Makhachev had been quietly sharpening behind the scenes. That knockout added a brutal final chapter to their rivalry, ending any talk of a trilogy and cementing Makhachev's place as one of the most complete fighters in the game.